This video is sponsored by my Patreon. Check the link down below or go to stocksurfest.com/Patreon and join. You get all my buy, sells, call outs, morning update videos, plus more. Check the link down below. Join now. Let's get into the video. Alrighty, guys. So we have to break down a stock that's down 50+% from the recent highs. We have to go over why this stock is dropping. We have to break down what this company even does, just to do a quick little rundown for all of you guys that don't know, but you probably know this company. Just a fair warning, guys. And we also have to break down some metrics and what makes me a bit nervous about the stock, plus some charts. As we always do, we break down charts. So hit the like button, subscribe, get your free money down below, and let's get right into the video. So the stock that we're going to talk about, the company that we're going to be talking about today, guys, is, drumroll please, dun, da, 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 it is Square, ticker symbol SQ, which now I guess the company is not called Square anymore. Square is just simply a block in their company, or a building block, as they say. We'll talk about that in a second. And now the overall company is called Block, B-L-O-C-K. And I do think they might change the ticker. I'm not sure exactly when that's going to happen, but as of now, the ticker is SQ. And they have a lot of companies under their umbrella, or their building blocks. They have a lot of building blocks of companies right now, guys, and that's kind of why they're changing the name, because Square was just one piece of their business. They also have Tidal, they have Cash App, they have Spiral, and they have this company that is new. We're going to talk a little bit about it. I don't know much about it, but it's called TBD, which I guess is to be determined, and a long string of numbers. So I guess they're going to change the name of that company, but overall Square helps, and we're going to talk about the little segments now, the different segments, shall I say, of the business. Square itself helps sellers run and grow their businesses with its integrated ecosystem of commerce solutions, business software, banking services, and Cash App, the other segment, allows anyone to send, spend, or invest their money in stocks or Bitcoin. We have Spiral, another piece of their business, which builds and funds free open source projects that advance the use of Bitcoin as a tool. And we have Tidal, which, if you guys didn't know, I think Jay-Z owned it or was a majority owner, and now Tidal was sold about a year ago maybe to Square for about $350 million or $500 million, something like that. I was reading about it earlier, I forget now, but just know Square just bought Tidal for a good chunk of change, and it's a global platform for musicians and their fans that use content, or the platform uses content, experiences, services to bring fans closer to the artists they love and give artists the tool to work as entrepreneurs. And they also have TBD, the to be determined company. I guess the name is not determined yet, obviously. This company is building an open developer platform to access Bitcoin and other blockchain technologies without having to go through an institution. So Square obviously has their hands in many different businesses, which is why they changed their name from Square to Block. And honestly, I like this more than Facebook's name change. If you guys know, well, you probably do know, Facebook changed their name to Meta Platforms. That's the parent company now. It's called Meta Platforms, and I don't like that name change that much. I know they're trying to dominate the metaverse. They're investing a lot of money in that every year. They're going to be, at least, but it doesn't make much sense to me. I guess it makes sense in the same way as now Meta owns a lot of different companies, kind of like Block owning Square, Tidal, and the other one Spiral, and the other ones we talked about. So I guess I just don't like Meta. Let's just say I just don't like that name. I like Blocks better. What can I say, guys? And overall, this company is still fairly big, even though it has gone down a lot over the past couple of months. I mean, look, guys, from $290 per share back in August to $289.23 to be exact. That's an all-time high. It went all the way down to $133 just recently, a couple of days ago, early January 22 here. This stock went down 53%. And by the looks of it, for all you traders out there looking at technicals, which I am one of those people, we can see we're still well in a downtrend. We're not finding any, we're not seeing at least any signs of a reversal quite yet. And on the 3-year chart, maybe we are at a point of support here, which is right by the 180 SMA where buyers have stepped in the past, but we're not quite yet seeing that breakout. And like I mentioned, this company is still pretty big, even though it's fallen down about 53%. The market cap is $68.2 billion. That's a lot of money, guys. And the trailing 12-month PE, all you value investors out there, get ready. Cover your ears. Play some music because this is going to blow your mind. The trailing 12-month price-to-earnings ratio for Square right now is 148. Not 35, not 50, not 100, but 148.31, which is nuts. And they have made money. I mean, obviously, they have a PE ratio, and their earnings per share the past 12 months is right around $1. So you take the stock price divided by $1 EPS for the year, which is how you find PE ratio. That's where you get the 143, right? Or 148, rather. You take 149, which is the stock price right now when I'm filming, divided by 1, you roughly get that. So that's the PE ratio. And when a company has a very high PE ratio, you bet your you-know-what, the company is growing fairly quickly. You know, companies that have a lot of growth, you have to pay more for these companies. In other words, you have to pay a higher multiple for these companies. And they do grow like crazy, let me tell you. In 2018, let's talk about some revenue numbers here. In 2018, Square did $3.2 billion in revenue. Okay, you got that number, 3.2 in 2018. In 2019, they did $4.7 billion in revenue. That's about 45% growth year over year. And then in 2020, they had a crazy year, $9.4 billion in revenue, up from 4.7 the year before. So they literally did a 100% growth year over year top line from 2019 to 2020. And in the last 12 months, as of now, guys, they've done $16.7 billion in revenue. So from $9.4 billion record 2020, they just now bumped to $16.7 in 2021, trailing 12 months, which is nuts for revenue. And the price to sales, believe it or not, is not that bad for Square. It's a 5.8, and the value investors are looking at that and they're about to puke. 5.8 probably is a lot. I mean, it is a lot for a value investor. But if you're looking at the ridiculous growth Square has and the way that they have their hands in a lot of different businesses, from music to crypto to investing, it's not that bad, and they're growing like crazy, like I've been saying, guys. So at this point in time, what makes me a bit nervous, Square does sound great when it comes to the growth. The valuation might be a little bit high for the value investors out there. In fact, I know for sure it's very high for the value investors out there. But if you see a future in what they're doing, the growth, again, we talked about the growth, I don't think the valuation is that crazy from a price to sales standpoint. And obviously they're not focused on earnings at this point. I mean, them being profitable, a very profitable business, is not a big concern right now, which is why their earnings is their EPS is very low, which is kind of skewing per se the price to earnings ratio. That's why it's so high. I mean, if they wanted to, they probably could make a lot of profit. Maybe a lot more than $1 EPS, which would make the P a lot lower, but then they're not going to be growing the top line as fast, which is what they're trying to do right now. That is the goal. So one thing that makes me a bit nervous is the fact that Square is heavy into Bitcoin, right? A lot of their revenue, a good amount, comes from Bitcoin transactions, guys. Let me read you this. Square's total net revenue was $3.84 billion in the third quarter. I think that's their most recent report, right? $3.84 billion net revenue. And Cash App generated $1.82 billion of Bitcoin revenue in that same quarter. So pretty much half of the revenue is Bitcoin revenue, which is, it's a lot. And the truth is, their stock price could be tied to the Bitcoin price. I mean, I've seen correlations already, and who knows, long term, if we do see Bitcoin go down a lot, go up a lot, it's probably going to correlate as long as the revenue from Bitcoin, which now it remains high. You know, as long as this revenue remains high from Bitcoin, their stock price is probably going to be correlated to Bitcoin. And the less popular Bitcoin is at the time, the less people that are looking at it, the revenue is going to come down from that. But hopefully they grow in their other areas of business, like the Square app, or Square, Tidal. Hopefully that could offset the Bitcoin. So I really like Square as a business. I'm not saying I don't believe in Bitcoin. I think it's here to stay. But it makes me a little bit nervous. I'm going to be honest with you. This is an honest video. So that is kind of what makes me nervous. The fact that Square is pretty heavily tied to Bitcoin right now. And we'll see how that plays out. But either way, you know, if this gets to a decent price, now let's talk about price where I'd buy. Even here at 130 to 150 range, I would consider buying a little bit. But if this thing dips under 100, for me, that's a for sure buy. And I mean $100 per share. And I've mentioned before on my YouTube channel, probably way before you guys, most of you watched my videos, but I mentioned this right around a couple months after the 2020 crash. And by the way, I've been on YouTube since 2018, so I'm not one of these YouTubers that started right around that time period. But either way, just figured I'd throw that in there for anybody that gave a crap. But yeah. You know, I told you guys, Square is one that I regretted not buying. I think it was at like 90, 100 bucks, and I regretted not buying it at 30, 35, 40, 50 bucks even per share, which is where it was during that crash and the rebound. So if I get that opportunity again, if it gets under 100, heck, if it goes to 70, 80, I will for sure be striking aggressively. I'm going to be buying Square. I'm just being honest with you guys. So overall, that's a quick little rundown. I don't want to dive too deep into the company or spend too much time because this is a short 10-15 minute YouTube video after all, guys. So that's just the breakdown. You know, that's the breakdown of some numbers, my thoughts on Square, kind of what they do. We broke down some charts as well. Now let me know your thoughts. Drop me a comment. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and join my Patreon. If you guys want all my buys, sells, call outs, morning update videos, more access to me throughout the day, plus more. All of that's on Patreon, link down below, or you guys can simply go to StockSurfest.com/Patreon. That's StockSurfest.com/Patreon. Make sure to also get your 2 stocks from Webull. All you have to do is use my link, deposit 100 bucks with them. We each get 2 stocks, and you guys could also get 50 bucks from M1 Finance. Use my link, deposit 100 bucks with them, and we each get 50 bucks. And with that being said, guys, I'll catch you all in the next video. Thanks for watching. As always, keep crushing the markets. Peace out, guys.